If you could see pictures of it, you'd know why no one does
Okay.
it. But the idea was solid. I liked it.
What were your first impressions, if you can remember, your first impressions of each other?
Oh, God.
That's a good reaction. Oh, God.
I don't think I was as drunk as you think I was when we met, but it's possible.
How
What
much,
was the
how much
story?
should I tell?
I think you should say everything, Michael.
Mike, but I need permission.
Well, if it's just about, being late at night and drinking, that's one thing.
He was such a nerd.
Of course I was a nerd. I was a total nerd.
And I was
had
like,
bell
I
bottoms.
do not want to be in a band with
I was
that
wearing
nerd.
bell bottoms in 1978 or 79. Well, I lived in Macon for 8 years, and in Macon, Georgia, bell bottoms were still the height of fashion.
Yeah.
And those were the only pants I had. So when I came to college, that's what I wore. And it took me a while to get more pants.
It's not like I was the coolest thing,
Yeah, I was gonna
on
say.
the block, but I thought I was.
The other way around, what were your first impressions of him?
I didn't have any. My first impression, my first impression of Michael that I really recall was the first rehearsal that Bill and I did with Michael and Peter. And Bill and I had a couple of songs that we'd written with the band we were in Macon. And I remember we showed them to Peter and Michael, and what those two guys did with those songs just blew me away. It was completely unexpected and completely cooler than anything we had done with them in Macon. And I said, okay, this is something I can work with.
That's a nice answer.
And it's true. It's quite true.
In 1980, the first ever kind of R.E.M. gig, although you weren't called R.E.M. at the time, at the church in Athens. Mm-hmm. It's become like a legendary event now. People talk about it as being this sort of moment, I don't know, the flashpoint for the band to kind of begin the party that you staged. Was it actually any good? And what can you remember from that first show?
It was spirited. Other than that, no, it wasn't probably very good.
What can you recall from it?
It was very punk rock. I mean, it was, a bunch of people threw a party and got really hammered and jumped around and slept with each other and got more hammered and
I think it was
woke up and regretted it.
One reason it was so great is because we were pretty fearless about what we did. I mean, we had a few of our own songs. We had a lot of covers, and when those ran out, we just started playing things we didn't know. We didn't have to play them well to make the audience happy at that point. So I think it was just the fact that we would do anything that popped into our heads was one of the things that made it a little more unusual than other parties.
The myth is that after that first show, every time you played, you'd sort of gather this audience, and it seemed you made a connection very, very quickly with the public. I think.
I mean, the real punk rockers in our small town didn't like us very much because we brought a larger crowd of people than any other punk rock band. And we brought people that they didn't really like that much.
Why?
Why did they not like them? Because they were like frat boys, like really